Hi, my name is Elle Hay. I am on a small farm north of Fairbanks, Alaska, called Happy Creek Farm. I'm going to hive a box of bees that arrived today. It is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, a little bit less. You'll be able to see what we go through to have our bees up here. I have overwintered my bees, so I've got a bunch of colonies right now that are doing their thing. We just got our first signs of pollen. These are 2 replacement colonies that I ordered. They came up from California, the almond fields of California. They are in wooden boxes. Some arrive in plastic. So this is what these look like. Got a towel over them to keep them warm. Ta-da! And this tool is meant to provide some warmth. Maybe it's so the flight attendants don't get scared. I'm not sure. So I'm going to use my portable skill saw to saw these apart. It'll be easier to hive them that way instead of one large unit. You can use a cat claw, you can use a screwdriver, you can use a hacksaw, whatever works for you. This is going to agitate the bees, but I'm going to do it anyway because I want to get it over with. If you don't have a portable skill saw, something to think about. Sure makes life easier. So these bees are stressed, they are dehydrated, they are tired. I've got some dead in the bottom. Of course, if you're using any equipment like this, you want to be careful. Make sure you're following all the safety precautions. I'm not responsible for anything you might do wrong. Last cut. Alright, got my box separated. The tool is stuck inside the skill saw. Okay, I'll deal with it later. These bees aren't moving around very much. But that's okay, they'll warm up. I'm going to put this other colony over to the side and I'm going to cover it with this towel. Keep them warm and away from the wind. I've got all the tools I need here. My hives are already ready, which means that I've got frames in the hive. I've got the frames situated in order to where these bees are going to benefit the best. I've got my smoker drifting. I'm not going to smoke them. Some people will spray them. This is not any kind of weather where you want to be spraying your bees with sugar syrup. I've got my basket that I carry all my beekeeping stuff in. Got my hive tool, got some extra smoker fuel. I've got some pollen patty. And I've got a 5-gallon jug of syrup. And so I'll show you what we do. There's going to be bees everywhere. A good thing to do is try to remain calm. Easier said than done. So I use polystyrene hives. It's my lid, it's my top feeder. Important. Because once I get these bees in, the top feeder will go on. And I want to get them in as soon as possible. I'm going to remove a couple of center frames. And like I said, I've got these frames arranged in a way so that the bees will be warm. They've got some stores, what some people would call honey, but it's not exactly honey in this situation. That's going to keep them warm and keep them fed because we don't have any pollen or nectar in our environment right now. I've got some empty frames on the end because I need some fresh drawn comb, but not right now. And I'm going to empty this 4-pound box into this spot here and then replace these frames where I had them. I find it's good to make sure you've got everything out beforehand because you don't want to stop this whole process and run and get something else. So we've got wooden box. In the box there's a jar or can. Can's got sugar syrup in it to sustain the bees during their trip up. We have a tiny, you might be able to see it, little nib right here. That's the queen cage. And as you can see, we've got the bees. If it was warm out, I could spray the bees with sugar syrup. Their wings would stick to their bodies and they wouldn't fly up at me. But I don't. What I'm going to do is I'm going to knock this box once to get the bees that are up at the top to the bottom. The reason for that is there's less to fly up at me. I have a little bit of a better opportunity to get that queen cage out. Then I'm going to separate the queen and put her in my pocket to keep her warm. Use my hive tool to fish out this container, the can. There are bees clinging to it. It's empty. So that means not only are they tired and hungry, but they're dehydrated. I put it aside. I'm going to wedge that queen out, grab her, shake the bees off of her. These bees are not of the same breed as the queen. I want to check the queen, make sure she's alive and kicking, and for me, I want to make sure she's marked. I am going to squirt, or you could spray, some sugar syrup on the inside of this hive so that they have something that attracts them, to keep them inside. Usually these bees, if it was warmer, they'd be flying up at me, but they're not. So I'm going to pour them in, and I'm going to have to knock them again. It's a bit tragic, but it's what you got to do. And then I'm going to pour them in. And it usually takes a couple times. There's going to be bees left over that don't make it, and what I'm going to do with that is put this box open towards the opening of the hive, and they'll make their way in later. Keep in mind I've got the queen with me in my pocket. Okay, these bees are going to have to wait. I'm not going to put this back in because I don't want to kill anyone. I've got the ladies inside the hive. I think I might be able to show you. You can see most of them are in the bottom. I'm going to replace those frames. Making sure that I've got drawn comb right where the queen is going to be, so when she gets out she can lay. She's an old world carnelian queen. These bees are super hungry. I can tell because I've dripped some syrup on the top of the frames and they're already going after it. They're more interested in that. I don't know if she's marked or not. I hope she is. If not, I need to take her out and mark her. She's not marked. So what I've got to do at this point is abandon this plan. I'm going to put the feeder on top. I'm going to pause this video, take her in, and do some marking. Actually, maybe I'll do it here. I would normally take her in the house. I don't want to risk losing her. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get her into this little container, and I will be able to push this lever up, which will push her to the top, and with that, I'll be able to mark her with an acrylic paint pen right in the thorax. And then I get her back into her cage, and then I'll put her in the hive. I've marked my queen, so I've got her in my pocket. I'm going to put some pollen patty on the frames so the bees have a source of protein and fat. The syrup I've given them is going to provide some energy. It mimics nectar. I do a soft pollen patty so it's easier for the bees to take in. These bees are really thirsty. So I'm just going to drizzle along the tops of the frames, particularly where the entrance to the feeder is, so that they can find their way to the syrup I'm going to add. So I've got the queen. She's warm and cozy in my pocket no longer. There's a little pink lid here. I'm going to pull that lid off. Inside of there is a sugar plug. And so what happens is the worker bees that are in this box are going to eat away that sugar plug, and by that time they'll be used to her pheromones and they won't kill her. So I want to place her right up next to some honey. And I want to be careful not to block any air holes. I like to work from right to left. These bees here happen to be in my way, right where I would like to put the queen. So I'm going to blow on them gently and slide her between these frames. I don't want to drop her in the bottom because then she wouldn't have access to food. So I've got her in there. I can show you. I think I can show you. There she is. So her cage is here. I'm going to check her in about 2 or 3 days. I'm going to put my lid on, try and make sure everybody's out of the way. The reason for that is when you kill the bee, whatever's in her system is going to come out. And these bees, I'm going to assume, have varroa mites. I'm also going to assume that they have nosema virus. I could be wrong, but I'm going to treat them anyways because I don't want them to infect my bees. So I've got some syrup that's already made. Full of yummy stuff. I pour a half gallon in there. It appears that there's a drone in my syrup. It's way too early for a drone. It's a big one. I'm going to fish him out. Let him figure his way. Then put the lid on. And then when I'm done with this video and the next one, I'll treat them for mites. And put them in the hive pod next to the other bees where they'll be kept warm until our daytime temperature is 60s, 70s, and our nighttime temperatures are no longer going down to the 20s. And that is how I hive a box of bees.